The Natural Resources Trust Fund was one of those great ideas that comes about, maybe every generation or two, and it came about in the mid-'70s.
The Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund was a statute passed by the legislature to provide funding for the purchase of recreational properties, state lands, local communities, and it was set aside as a pot of money that was protected, which came from oil and gas revenues from state-owned minerals.
All of a sudden, gas and oil prices were shooting up, and somebody said, we're going to be flush with a lot of cash here that's going to go into the state coffers. What do we do with it?
When we were planning for the development of oil and gas in the Pigeon River, I just thought there might be a way in which we could kind of give back to public lands as a result of the development on the Pigeon River. And it was an opportunity to try to reduce the impacts from the oil and gas development, which was very controversial at the time.
The story of the trust fund is really an interesting one. There was a huge controversy over the idea of permitting oil and gas development in the Pigeon River country of Michigan, which is up in the northeast corner of the lower peninsula of the state. The resources that were there, the oil and gas, were owned by the people of the state of Michigan, the oil and gas that was under the ground in the Pigeon River Country State Forest.
You had people that wanted to drill for oil and natural gas on state lands in Michigan. And you had people that were completely opposed to that concept of drilling for oil and gas on state lands in Michigan. Then you had people coming forth with ways to kind of bridge that compromise, and the compromise was the Natural Resources Trust Fund.
Some people in the Department of Natural Resources and the governor's office and the Michigan United Conservation Clubs got together and said, how do we do something that enables the development to occur at the same time that we do something for future generations? The concept behind it was you take the proceeds you get from non-renewable resources, things that can't be replaced, oil and gas and other minerals that are under the ground that are owned by the people of the state of Michigan. Take the proceeds from the use of those resources and put them in a fund that can only be used to buy additional non-renewable resources, land, development projects for recreation.
Now, each year, we're going to be able to use a third of those dollars, and we'll put a board in place, a 5-member board in place, that will choose the project and send those on to the legislature. Every county has seen a project. Every county has seen at least one project, and every county and most cities have benefited from the Natural Resources Trust Fund.
Over $1 billion that wouldn't have otherwise been there now go into all of these communities. These communities are smart. They are using this money to change their destinies as communities.
We would hear from over 100 applicants many years, cities, counties, townships, villages that wanted to put in a park.
There have been a number of projects that have really made huge differences across the state of Michigan. The ones that come to mind immediately are Milliken State Park on the Detroit River.
In the city of Detroit on Belle Isle, the Globe Building.
That sparked a huge change in that riverfront in Detroit to where it is today, a beautiful riverfront.
The sand dunes that now people can recreate on.
Even up in the tip of the KEWENAW, a trail system that they created through the KEWENAW with help from the trust fund. The Pigeon River Country State Forest is one of the most amazing. That is where the idea of the trust fund originally came from.
Development projects for recreation.
It's not a single iconic project, it's the fact that you can go anywhere on the Great Lakes and have access to them thanks to the Natural Resources Trust Fund.
An enormous number of projects that have benefited local communities and have benefited people of the entire state.
People recreate on this land. They spend dollars as a result, whether they hunt, fish, pick mushrooms on the Pigeon River, ride horses. Anywhere there are recreational lands that results in dollars for not only the state, but for the local economy as well. So it's had a major impact.
No place else in the country ever tried anything like this, and it's proven to be extremely successful.
The trust fund and the fact that it was built on this unique collaboration, this unique compromise, is the type of innovation that we want to continue to see here in the state of Michigan and that the rest of the country should be looking at.